There are things in life you just don't plan for. Things that appear out of nowhere. Things that drop onto the pavement of a busy street and change everything. I'm Megan, and if you had asked me 6 months ago what love was, I probably would have given you a technical answer based on neuroscience and behavioral patterns. Today I know that love is what makes you keep a crumpled piece of paper in your pocket and decide you're going to change someone's life without them even knowing it. But before I tell you how a lost list became the most important thing in my life, you need to understand one thing about me. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in frequency and vibration. And on that day in Chicago, on an ordinary Tuesday in March, the universe conspired in a way that all my studies couldn't explain. I want to tell you that the videos on this channel are fictional stories for your entertainment. Subscribe for more videos. Leave a like and tell me where you're watching from and how old you are. Now, let's begin. I was just leaving my monthly investors meeting. The kind of appointment that rattles anyone, no matter how many zeros you have in your bank account. 5 years of building my digital empire, teaching mindset and manifestation, and yet my stomach still did flips before presenting results. The difference is that today, I know how to handle it. I breathe, I anchor myself, and I visualize the outcome I want. It works. It always works. Chicago was a bit cooler that day. I was walking, lost in thought, looking down with my hands in my Burberry coat pockets, when I saw the paper fall. It was strange because it didn't just drop. It danced in the air. It twirled twice before landing on the wet pavement right in front of me, as if it were waiting for me. The woman about 10 feet ahead didn't even notice. She kept walking, headphones in, with the posture of someone trying to make themselves small in the world. Too thin, coat too light, worn-out sneakers. I recognized her immediately because I used to be her, before I understood that the mind creates reality, before everything changed. I picked up the paper. It was folded, a bit crumpled, with damp spots on the edges. I was going to call out to her, return it, and move on with my life. But then I opened it, and I read the first line. Try artisan ice cream at Jenny's Splendid. I frowned and kept reading. See the beach and watch the sunset. Have dinner at a fancy restaurant. Buy something at a designer store without looking at the price. Visit Dubai. Travel first class. Date a woman who accepts me exactly as I am. My heart raced. It wasn't a shopping list. It was a bucket list. A wish list. There was something about those handwritten words that hit me straight in the chest. Because I recognized it. I recognized hope, mixed with resignation. Someone who dreams but doesn't believe. Someone who writes down desires but doesn't know how to manifest them. I looked ahead. She was almost turning the corner onto Michigan Avenue. I thought fast. I could shout, run after her, return the paper. That would be the right thing to do. The obvious thing. But something in me, that voice I learned to listen to after years of studying mindset, said something else. It said that paper reached me for a reason. I tucked the list into my pocket and followed her. Does that sound crazy? Maybe. But I've learned that intuition is the universe's way of talking to us, and mine was screaming. She walked into a small neighborhood Starbucks. I waited outside, pretending to check my phone, trying to look casual. My brain was working a mile a minute. What was I going to do? Walk up and say, "Hi, I found your wish list and decided to make your dreams come true." Ridiculous. Creepy even. I needed a plan, a natural way to approach her. Then I had an idea. I waited for her to come out. When she did, coffee cup in hand and looking exhausted, I positioned myself strategically on the sidewalk. I took out my leather briefcase, opened it, and pretended to look for something. As she passed me, I accidentally dropped 5 or 6 papers on the ground, on purpose. Important contracts and reports mixed with random sheets. She stopped instantly. "Oh no, let me help you." Her voice was soft, slightly raspy, with that Midwest accent I still wasn't used to after 5 months in Chicago. "Thank you, I'm such a mess." I faked being rushed and nervous. It wasn't hard to fake. My heart was actually pounding. We knelt down together. Our fingers brushed as we reached for the same paper. She pulled her hand back quickly as if she'd been shocked. I looked at her up close for the first time. Huge brown eyes, pale skin, a few freckles across the bridge of her nose, light brown hair tied in a messy ponytail. She was beautiful, delicate, and there was something in those eyes that made me forget to breathe for a second. "Sorry," she murmured, gathering the papers carefully. "I hope nothing important got ruined." "No, it's okay, really. Thank you so much for stopping to help." I took the papers from her hands, and our fingers touched again. This time, neither of us pulled away quickly. "Most people wouldn't even look." She gave a small, sad smile. "You never know when you'll need someone to stop for you too, right?" That right there got me. The profound simplicity of that sentence, genuine kindness. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to tell her it was going to be okay. I wanted to tell her I had her list in my pocket and that I was going to make every one of those dreams come true. But I just smiled back. "True. I'm Megan, by the way." "Emma." She held out her hand. We shook. Her hand was cold, but her grip was firm. "You're not from around here, are you? The accent..." "Miami. I moved here 5 months ago for work." "And you?" "Born and raised on the South Side." She looked at her watch, a cheap digital Casio. "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go. I start work in 15 minutes. Of course. Sorry for holding you up." "You didn't. It was nice to meet you, Megan." "You too, Emma." She turned to leave. I stood there on the cold Chicago sidewalk, holding my briefcase, feeling the weight of that list in my pocket. 5 seconds. 10. She was about 30 feet away when my body reacted before my head could. "Emma." She turned, looked at me with those huge, surprised eyes. I took a deep breath. Now or never. "Look, this is going to sound completely random, but do you like Italian food?" She blinked. Confused. Obviously confused. Yes. Why?" "Because I had plans to go with a friend. I already have a reservation, and she called saying she can't make it. And I really didn't want to go alone." "You seem like a nice person, and..." I stopped, pretending to be embarrassed. "Sorry, that was weird. Forget it." "No," she said quickly. Too quickly. Then she seemed to regret her excitement. "I mean, it wasn't weird. It's just, I don't know if I can. Financially, I mean. Those places are usually..." "I already have the table reserved, remember?" I interrupted, gentle but firm. "Don't worry about the cost. I just wanted someone nice to talk to. And you seem nice. So, what do you say?" I saw the conflict on her face. Desire fighting insecurity. Wanting fighting fear. Hope fighting the voice that probably told her this was too good to be true. I don't have clothes for a place like that," she admitted quietly, looking down at her worn coat. "I didn't have any either when I first got to Chicago." I lied. I lied without a guilty conscience because I knew sometimes people just need a bridge to get across. And I was going to be her bridge. I came straight from Miami with summer clothes. I learned fast that it's a whole different world here. Wear whatever you feel comfortable in. I promise no one will notice, and if they do, that's their problem. She bit her lower lip. I thought she was going to say no, but then she nodded slowly. Okay, sure, I accept." I smiled, a genuine big smile from somewhere deep inside. "Perfect. Give me your number so I can text you the details." We swapped numbers. She saved mine as Megan, Papers in the Street, and I laughed when I saw it. I saved hers as Emma with a star emoji. I don't know why. It just felt right. Tomorrow at 8 then, I confirmed. Tomorrow at 8. She smiled too. A smile that lit up her whole face. Thank you, Megan. Seriously. You have no idea. Anyway, thank you. She left. I stood on the cold sidewalk, watching her disappear into the crowd. Then I took the list out of my pocket. I read it again. Every word. Every dream. Dinner at a fancy restaurant with candles on the table. 1 checked off. 6 more to go. And for the first time in years, since I started this journey of studying manifestation and vibration, I felt like I wasn't just applying concepts. I was living real magic. I was being an instrument for the universe to make something beautiful happen. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Because deep down, where the truth lives, I already knew. This wasn't just about fulfilling a stranger's wishes out of kindness. There was something more. Something in the way my heart had raced when our fingers touched. Something in the way I had memorized every detail of her face in just a few minutes of conversation. But I wasn't ready to admit it yet, so I put the list back in my pocket, adjusted my briefcase, and headed home, already planning every detail of tomorrow's dinner. The inside of Gibson's was exactly the kind of place Emma had on her list. Low lighting, a piano playing in the background. The scent of garlic, butter, wine, and fresh bread filled the air. It's the kind of restaurant that appears in movies, the kind people see and think, one day. But for a lot of people, that day never comes. But it was coming for Emma. Today. I spent the whole night researching. I called Gibson's and confirmed the reservation. When I went to pick Emma up at 7:30, my heart was racing. Her building was worse than I imagined. Faded paint, a rusted fire escape. It wasn't dangerous. It was just sad. The kind of place you live because you have no choice. I knew that feeling. Intimately. When Emma appeared, I almost forgot to breathe. A simple black dress, flat shoes, her hair down. Stunning. Not just pretty. Stunning. The kind of beauty that catches you off guard because it has nothing to do with expensive clothes. It has to do with light. With essence. I decided to leave the car at home so we could take an Uber because I want to drink wine, I said when she got in. And then I added, by the way, you look beautiful. I saw the blush creep up her neck. Thank you. You too. I mean, you look... Wow. We walked into the restaurant. Emma was stiff, looking at everything with a mix of fascination and discomfort. Like she didn't belong. The table was perfect. A discreet corner, view of the dining room but private. When the maitre d' pulled out Emma's chair, she looked like she didn't know what to do. Megan, she whispered after he stepped away. I really can't afford anything here. Emma. I took her hand over the table. Stop. Breathe. Don't worry, I told you. If I invited you, it's because I can pay. You don't have to worry about anything. At all. And you don't have to pick the cheapest thing. Okay? She breathed, slowly. Then she nodded. Okay, sorry. It's just that I've never been to a place like this. First time for everything. I smiled. You just have to repeat in your mind, I belong in this world. I feel at ease because this is my world. Repeat it with me. And she did, until I saw her relax. The wine arrived. Emma tasted it. Her eyes widened. Oh my God. This is... wow. Good, right? It's so good, like, really good. We talked. About everything. About nothing. She told me about her childhood on the South Side. Strict religious parents who struggled to accept who she was. They're not bad people, she explained, swirling her wine. They grew up in a different time. To them, I chose to be this way. They think it's a phase. That one day I'll get it together. meet a good man, have kids. But you're not a phase, I said softly. No, I'm not. She looked at me, firmly. I know who I am. I've always known. Since I was a teenager. For a long time, I tried to change. I tried to pray it away. But you can't. I can't be something I'm not. You shouldn't even try. I know. Today I know. But it still hurts, you know? Not having their support. I took her hand across the table. You deserve good things simply because you exist. You don't have to earn them. You don't have to prove anything. You are already enough. She looked at our hands, intertwined her fingers with mine. No one has ever said it to me quite like that. The main courses arrived. Emma cut a piece of the steak I'd suggested. She took a bite, and the expression on her face was so pure, so genuinely happy, that I had to stop myself from taking a picture. This is... She couldn't even finish the sentence. She just shook her head, eyes closed. Good? Heavenly. Watching her try it. Watching her allow herself to feel pleasure in that moment. It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. When we finished eating, it was almost 11 at night. I don't want this to end, Emma admitted. It doesn't have to. We can take a walk. Chicago is beautiful at night. Isn't it too late? Do you have plans tomorrow morning? I asked. No. Then didn't you say you didn't want it to end? I stood up. Come on, trust me. She looked at me, gave me a happy smile, nodded, and stood up. We walked to the Riverwalk, the city lights reflecting on the dark water of the Chicago River. It was almost magical. We leaned against the railing, looking at the water, the buildings. Suddenly I felt her rest her head on my shoulder. Slowly, hesitantly. I didn't pull away. I put my arm around her shoulders. I almost never come to this part of the city, she said. When I called the Uber to take her home, Emma sat in the middle of the seat, not by the window, in the middle, right next to me, her hand searching for mine in the dark. When we got to her building, she turned to me. Thank you for everything, for making me feel seen, special. Don't forget to always tell yourself, I belong in this world. She smiled slowly. She kissed my cheek, and for a second we almost kissed for real. Sorry. I pulled her back, and I gave her a light kiss on the lips. She smiled. Will I see you again? I asked. If you want to. When? Whenever you want. Tomorrow? She laughed. Tomorrow is perfect. When I got home, I took the list out of my pocket. I grabbed a pen. Dinner at a fancy Italian restaurant. Check, one down. But for the first time, I wondered if I was doing this for the list, or if the list had just been an excuse. Just the universe giving me a nudge to do what I already wanted to do. The next few months were great. With every date, I fulfilled a wish from the list. Without her knowing. Try artisan ice cream at Jenny's Splendid. I took her on a Saturday afternoon. I paid the server to let her try every single flavor. Emma tasted each one with that genuine pleasure that killed me. This is the best ice cream I've ever had in my life, she declared. I imagine you've dreamed of this to be enjoying it this much. Yes! Thanks to you, you're spoiling me. Good, that was the intention. See the sunset on a real beach. We're going on a trip, I announced one Thursday night. Emma almost choked. What? A trip, this weekend, you and me, the beach. Megan, are you crazy? I don't have money to travel. Like I told you, never say you're out of money. Let the universe bring it somehow. Didn't you tell me you wanted to see the beach? My apartment is right on the ocean. That's why I thought of asking you to come with me. After a lot of insisting, she agreed. We flew first class, 2 checks at once. On the plane, I saw her eyes sparkle. As we walked along the shore, the smile never left her face. At the apartment, Emma went out to the balcony, the sound of the waves, the smell of salt. She closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, she was crying. Why the tears? Happiness, gratitude. And you made this happen. Why? Because I wanted to see you happy. She looked at me. There's more, isn't there? Something you're not telling me. No one does all this for nothing. What's your reason, Megan? Moment of truth. I want you, Emma. The words came out raw, honest. I want to know you. I want to spend time with you. I want to see what can grow between us. That's my reason. You. Silence, just the sound of the waves. Are you saying that? I'm saying I like you. A lot. And it's not just friendship. It's more. We kissed intensely. Hands in my hair, her body pressed against mine. Me too, she whispered. I feel it too, since that first day. I just didn't think you could feel the same, because of our differences. Don't finish that, I interrupted. Emma, you're incredible. I'm learning so much from you. And we went down so she could experience the beach. When she felt the ocean on her feet, her eyes teared up. Her smile was from ear to ear. Megan, I love this. Oh my God, this feels amazing. It's beautiful, isn't it? That night we slept in each other's arms. It was perfect, intimate, safe. On Saturday, we spent the whole day at the beach. Emma in the water, laughing, jumping over waves. She looked like a child. This time, I filmed it. I loved seeing her so happy. The sunset was exactly like on the list. We sat on the sand, our bodies intertwined. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, Emma murmured. I'm falling in love with you, she said. My heart stopped. You are? I am. And it's scary. And it's way too fast. But it's real. I know. I feel the same. That night was different. And it was beautiful. It was a connection on a level I had never experienced. The next item was buy something at a designer store without looking at the price. Magnificent Mile. Gucci. I pretended I needed a bag. Emma helped me choose, not knowing it was for her. I called the sales associate over. It's a gift for her. Emma tried to protest. I ignored her. When we left, she was in shock. I don't deserve this. Hey, what do you mean? I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk. Emma, I'm going to keep doing things for you, because seeing your happiness makes me happy. And what is money for, if not to make us happy? You know my story, where I came from. If I made it, you can too. And I'm going to help you grow. So either you accept it, or we're going to have this argument for the next 50 years. Your choice. She laughed. 50 years? Or more? She kissed me right there. Okay, I accept. From the list, only visit Dubai and have a girlfriend were left. That last one depended on her, because I was completely in love. The other item was Dubai. That was the big one. I waited until her vacation. I scheduled mine for the same month. I planned everything. When I told her, she just froze. Dubai. You want to take me to Dubai? After a long talk about manifestation, abundance, and allowing oneself to receive, she accepted. Dubai was surreal. Burj Al Arab, 7-star hotel. Emma cried when she walked into the room. Is this really happening? It was my biggest dream. And I wanted to tell her that I found her wish list and made her dreams come true, but I was worried she'd think my feelings were fake. Thank you. Truly. We hugged for a while. We did everything. Burj Khalifa, the desert, the malls, everything she looked at with a sparkle in her eye I bought. On the 5th night, having dinner with a view of the illuminated Burj Khalifa, Emma said, I need to tell you something. My stomach tightened. What? I had a list, a wish list, and I lost it back in March. And since then, everything on that list started happening through you. She looked at me. I couldn't hide it anymore. I found it, I said, worried. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? And you decided to make it all happen? Why? Because when I read that list, Emma, I saw someone who dreamed. And that touched me. So I decided I was going to make it happen. I was going to show you that dreams can come true. And I got excited about sharing what I study and how I grew in life. There was only one item left on the list, and I didn't think I could fulfill that one. That one depends on you. I took a deep breath and asked, "Will you be my girlfriend?" She was crying and laughing at the same time, her hand over her mouth in disbelief. She answered, smiling, "Yes." She kissed me, intensely. "Why did you write, 'Accept me as I am'?" So far, I haven't seen anything wrong. I've been wondering about that this whole time. When she took a deep breath and answered with tears in her eyes, "Because I always push people away. Because I speak without thinking and then regret it. Because I often can't pay attention to what people are saying, and they think I only care about myself. Because I'm a mess with my life, with planning, with everything. And also, above all, because I'm forgetful, and people think I do it on purpose. I've always tried to fix myself, but I never could." "Yeah, I always thought you were a bit spacey," we laughed. "But we can see a doctor about that if you want." 3 years later, Emma and I were in our office, and I taught her that dreams are not timid requests made by chance. They are goals that haven't been fully explained yet. I taught Emma that most people don't fail because of a lack of ability, but because of a lack of clarity. She had always dreamed, but she had never learned how to organize those dreams, how to give them shape, intention, and direction. "Dreaming isn't waiting," I said, leaning against the office desk while she scribbled ideas into a new notebook. "Dreaming is deciding before the world agrees." I showed her how I did it from the very beginning. It wasn't loose magic. It was method backed by emotion. First, clarity. No more, "I want to be happy." That's too abstract. It had to be, "I want to live facing the ocean. I want to work at something that respects me. I want to love without apologizing." Then, anticipated emotion. I taught Emma to feel it before having it, to close her eyes, to breathe, to imagine the details. Because the brain doesn't distinguish vivid imagination from reality. It starts to act as if it's already possible. "That's why I changed," she said one day. "It wasn't just because things happened. It was because I started to see myself differently." I nodded. "Exactly. Life doesn't treat you better when you ask. It treats you better when you take a stand." Then came the hardest part for her, allowing herself to receive. Emma had been taught her whole life that everything came with guilt, debt, or a catch. I had to repeat it many times. Receiving doesn't make you weak. It makes you available. 3 years later, that woman who used to walk with her head down in the Chicago cold now sat in a glass-walled room with a view of the city, helping other women write their own lists, not of wishes, but of decisions. Her original list was kept in a frame on the wall, yellowed, simple, almost childlike, not as a reminder of a miracle, but as proof that everything starts small, a piece of paper, an idea, a choice. And if you're listening to this story right now, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's just the universe reminding you of one simple thing. Dreams don't come true on their own. They respond to those who have the courage to take them seriously. Emma looked at me that day, smiled and said, "Funny, I thought I needed luck." "No," I replied. "You just needed to believe you deserved it." Dreams become reality when we allow it, when we act, when we trust. And sometimes all we need is someone to believe in us first. someone to hold our hand, someone to show us that we have always been worthy. Emma was that for me as much as I was for her. And if you're there, listening to this story, thinking about your own dreams, your own forgotten lists, I want you to know one thing. You deserve it too. You always have. You don't need a list falling from the sky. You don't need someone to do it for you. You just need to believe and start. Because the universe conspires. It always has. We just need to be open to receive. And when you find someone who makes you believe in that, someone who shows you that you are worthy, someone who fulfills your dreams alongside you, hold on tight, and build something beautiful, something that becomes a legacy, something that transforms not just you, but everyone around you. Because love, real love, isn't just about two hearts. It's about the impact those two hearts can make on the world when they beat together. And if this story touched your heart in some way, if it made you believe that your dreams are also possible, leave a like. Comment below with the biggest wish on your list, the one you still think is impossible. Who knows, maybe the universe is conspiring for you too, just like it did for Megan and Emma. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, you have always been worthy. Always.